Hello, good evening everyone, and welcome back to dhtrader.com video update. Well, we're back after a week's holiday. Took a very nice week holiday for the beginning of the week of September. But anyway, we're back now, ready to trade and to be back in profit. Well, we'll be looking at the DAX in first instance, as it's an index that we trade a lot. And basically, we must say that now on the DAX we can see something very interesting happening. On your screens right now you've got the monthly chart of the DAX, and on this monthly chart obviously we've got something extremely interesting happening, which is I'm underlining now with the cursor, and this is basically a bearish divergence that is in formation. It is not validated yet, but it is in formation, as you can see with the yellow dots here. This bearish divergence has overbought stochastics and overbought RSI. And the other thing that we can actually see too is a pulse that has fired along, indicating the initiation of this upwards movement here since June 2012 all the way to June 2014, so 2 years of upwards movement. And now this pulse has lost momentum and we are reaching its finalization, which will basically mean the start of a new trend, which is going to be a bearish trend. The other thing that we can actually see right now, if you see on this part of your screen, we've got the stochastics, stochastics of the course. Here we had a new high in January 2014, and we also had a high after that in June 2014. Nevertheless, the stochastics is showing us a clear bearish divergence on this movement here that isn't underlined by the LT pro divergence movement, but prior to that, as I can tell you, we've already had a bearish divergence here, which should translate in a trend reversal. So basically this is what we've got. If we have a look here, based on all the previous movements, we have not had a real bearish divergence at the top of an upwards movement. This is the very first time this has happened since the year 2000. So should this bearish divergence get confirmed, we should see some bearish movements and a downwards trend that, believe it or not, should take us to at least the 8,000 mark for the DAX 30. And you've heard it correctly, we maintain that the DAX should go back down to the 8,000 level. Obviously, as you can see on the screen right now, we've got the monthly chart, so we're not saying this is going to be tomorrow or within a week or within a year. This is a monthly chart, and therefore we could see quite a few candles before this happens, but we are definitely going to enter in the monthly bearish movement. If we have a look at charts in the lower time scale, it'll give us an idea of what's been going on. So let's look at it now. On your screens right now we've got the weekly charts. Now in the weekly charts previously, in May 2013, we've had the latest bearish divergence that has been confirmed. Nevertheless, on this bearish divergence, the target that we were aiming for this was the previous lows, which represent the 7,000 level. So the 7,000 level was the target for this bearish divergence. We did not meet it. We actually rallied and continued an upward move that took us right up to the 10,000 mark. But let's have a look in the past what's happened. Here, as you can see on your screen right now, we've got a bearish divergence in the blue dotted lines. The target for this bearish divergence, if we have a look, was the 6,650 mark. This basically was reached. The bearish divergence was confirmed in May 2011, and the target of going short was basically reached in August 2011. So we only had a few months wait here to reach our target of quite a few decent pips. We're looking here at a position where we would have entered at 7,300 to exit at 6,600. So you can imagine the profit on this. Nevertheless, if we go a bit back here, you can actually see here we've had several bearish divergence that were translated with no real target reached. So here we've got a few confirmed on August 2010. Nevertheless, the target for these was the 5,450 level. Now the DAX didn't reach that until, as you can see here, August 2011. So we had a bearish divergence confirmed in August 2010, and we didn't reach it until August 2011. Exactly, it took us 12 months to reach the target, but as you can see on the screen, we reached it. sooner or later we reached it. And this is the case for all the previous bearish divergences we've had. If you have a look at this bearish divergence here, it's a very, very small one. Nevertheless, it indicates a target of 5,290. This was in October 2009, and we didn't actually reach that. Actually, tell a lie, we reached it here in February 2010, so they're quite a few months later, but we did reach it. Here, for example, we've got a bullish divergence. If we have a look at this bullish divergence there, this was validated in March 2009. The target was the previous highs. We're looking at a level of 5,060. This was reached in June 2009, so about 3 or 4 months later. So as you can see in the past, here, for example, this one there, we have a bullish divergence, as you can see, with a target of 7,386. Now, this was confirmed in July 2008, and we didn't actually reach this target all the way until 2011. It took us 2 years to reach it. But what happened, ladies and gentlemen? We actually reached it. This is basically the purpose of this look back through time that I'm showing you. Every time we've had either a bullish or a bearish divergence, sooner or later, in the space of possibly up to 2 years, but most of the time it's a question of a few months, we've actually reached it. So here we've actually got a bearish divergence with a target, as you can see here, of 7,000 points that we have not reached. This has not reached yet, and therefore it should be reached within the coming months, I'd say, possibly within the coming year. So the direction of the DAX is definitely a downwards direction that we should be seeing within the next few months, possibly the next year. So as you can see right now on your screen, I'll sum up what I've said. We've got a monthly chart with a bearish divergence information and a validated bearish divergence on stochastics, indicating an initial target on this divergence of 8,000. On the weekly chart, which is what we've just seen now, what we've got is a previous bearish divergence with a target of 7,000, believe it or not, 7,000, that once again we will reach. I can guarantee this will be in the coming months or in the coming year. Now let's have a look at the daily chart to see what would be happening within the next few days, give a closer idea on how to conduct our trades, especially if we are day trading, intraday trading or swing trading. So here basically, as you can see, what we've got there is the daily chart on the DAX. We've reached a resistance. I'll just draw those for you so you can see. So we had an important one here. Now this resistance at the 9,600 level, we personally thought we wouldn't break, but we did. You can actually see here we bounced back on it, came back down, we broke it, and now we're actually coming back to this, well, it's now a support. Resistance that's broken becomes support, as most of you will know. And therefore we'll be reaching back to the 9,600 level support, and at this stage many people, especially many people out there, will be thinking that what we will do is continue our rally. Now if we have a look there, this blue arrow that I've just drawn for you on the screen will actually represent a trend line. Now this trend line is an upwards trend that we've been following, and will nicely coincides with kissing the previous support goodbye that we've broken, and continuing a rally to the upside. Now everything on this chart would be telling us we are going to continue an upwards movement, except for higher time scale indications and signals, as I said, on the weekly and on the monthly charts, which will indicate a definite downwards move on the DAX. Now basically, should we look at the 4-hour chart here, this is where you're going to see something that gets even more interesting. I'm going to delete this upward trend line as we don't need it at this stage. And basically this is it. This is what you've got, which is extremely interesting. Now we've got the support at the 9,600 level that I've drawn here. This is the support that we personally thought we wouldn't break. Nevertheless, we've broken it. We're above it, and this support, this resistance, previous resistance, becomes support as mentioned. But what we've got is something even more interesting, which is a bearish divergence that has been formed and validated above this previous resistance, now support. Now this is extremely rare occurrence, as you can see, the bearish divergence has been formed with a previous top below the resistance and the final top above the now support. So this is telling us that we should have an initial target of 9,380 approximately level for this bearish divergence. So we should be seeing in the next days a downwards movement on the DAX, which should take us to the 9,380, 9,400 level in order to, after that, continue our downwards movement. So this has been a pretty tricky trade, as most of you will know. A lot of traders on eToro have basically conducted their trades in not a very professional and accurate way. This was due to the fake signals and fake behavior that the DAX has had. As you can see here, we reached the support. This resistance right here should have been a downwards movement. That the normal behavior of the DAX here would have been to continue. As you can see here, its movement to the downside have withdrawn. Nevertheless, what happened? It rallied back. It actually broke the resistance that now became support, and now it's actually formed a bearish divergence, as I'm pointing out here with the blue arrows, above this previous resistance that is now support. So we've got a bearish divergence that should make us break this previous resistance, shall we say, in order to fulfill the target of this divergence. So this is extremely interesting. What I would recommend you to do at this stage is basically wait for a few days until we reach 9,600 level. Should we reach this level and bounce back, this is a possibility. We could bounce back like this initially, as a lot of people will identify this support. Nevertheless, eventually we should break it and continue our movements down. So what I would do basically now is keep a track on the DAX. On the longer term swing day trading, I would await this closure be underneath this support, and once this is the case, then I would short the DAX in order to initially reach the target, as previously mentioned, of the 9,380 mark. At this point here, we'll be reaching a support which will make the DAX bounce, but remember, weekly and monthly chart is indicating a clear downwards trend. So the downwards trend is still there, and we should see it in the next few days, weeks, months, and the next year. A lot of people are aiming for the DAX to go up by Christmas, reaching the 10,000 point. As you can see here, I don't believe this would be the case, as taking it up to the 10,000 point would invalidate the previous divergence. So I personally think that now we should see more of a downwards movement on the DAX. Well, I hope this helps. If you need any advice, if you've got any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me directly on eToro or on our Facebook page, dhtrader.com. You can also contact us on our website, dhtrader.com. Well, thank you very much. I hope this helps, and I'll be in touch. Goodbye.